Another highlight for this release is the updated connections menu. And there's two parts to that improvement. First is more options for connection styles. And then we also have improved the connection highlighting. So let's get right into it. I draw a connection here. By clicking on it, you get now an updated menu. So some of the options are still like they used to be, so I can still toggle between curved and straight line. I can, of course, also still update the color, and I can still remove connections. But then there's a couple of new options here as well. So first of all, we give you a couple of different thicknesses to choose from. If you want to de-emphasize or kind of highlight specific connections more, you can now also change the style. So you can create dotted lines, you can make dashed lines and straight lines. And of course that works in combination. So a very thin dotted line or a very thick dashed line, for example. And then last but not least, you can also pick from a couple of different connection points. So you can also set the start point or may make a bidirectional connection. We have this available on all the available elements, so you can use this for pool planning as well as nodes. However, at this stage, reverting, for example, the direction of a connection in the pool plan will not update the dependency validation yet. So we still thought it might be valuable to have those functionality available there, but there's probably some follow-up work that we'll have to do based on feedback. So you can definitely go into pool plan and start applying thicker lines and use all of the different styling. But if you're updating the headers, that does not really change anything in terms of the dependency validation. For the highlighting part, I would like to give you a side-by-side comparison because I think that makes it much clearer what we have changed here. So I've created two workspaces here. This is in our current app environment. And this one here is the changes that will be available in the next release. And what we have had before is the ability to kind of highlight any connected tasks. And if I click on that one here, it's really hard to see, but you have like blue, certain connection lines turning blue, and then also connected elements showing up in blue as well. So feedback was that, well, the functionality itself, it's a great idea, but implementation is not really all that helpful because it's actually really hard to see the connected elements. So we have changed this quite a bit. So first of all, you don't need to select elements anymore. You can basically just hover over the element. And if it has connecting lines, it will highlight in blue, and all of the outgoing or incoming connections will move to the front. And the connections themselves have updated highlighting as well. So in order to see that a little bit better, I'm just going to maximize the window and we can zoom in here a little bit. So what we have changed is that we are not changing the color of the connection itself, but give it a blue outline, which also means that if I make a color change here, for example, so let's say we make this a red connection and let's make it dashed. If I hover over it, you still see that this is a red connection, but it gets highlighted and gets moved to the front. And of course, the same applies to the selection as well. So I can still select elements and see which connected elements are, or which elements it's connected to. And that is really helpful if you want to find dependency chains. So let's say we have an important task here in iteration 4 that has dependencies before. I can select that, and with control click, I can continue then to kind of add to that selection, and that will in turn highlight again its dependencies. So you can see that I can kind of, pull together all of the tickets and visualize kind of this network of connected tasks. And that will definitely be an area of further improvement. So we want to we provide functionality to automatically kind of grow the selection based on dependencies. But to date, it's available manually, and it's already really helpful. And of course, all of that is working irrespectively whether you, are in collapse state or expanded. All of the connections update, and you can very quickly kind of find out where connected elements are. So again, more of a starting point, but I think already quite a big improvement if you do things like flowcharting, and if you have a lot of dependencies in a pool plan or in an agile plan, that will certainly make it much, much easier to kind of visualize and see those dependencies. And with that, that was it for the update around connections.